Welcome back. This is Luis Mendez, and I am your local realtor here. And today I'm going to be talking about 10 things you should know before moving to Florida. And I think you'll actually be happy with this list because everything is true. And that's why most people come here and they stay and they can't leave, or they come on vacation and they end up buying a house here. So starting off with the list, number one, um, they call this the Sunshine State for a reason. It is sunshine literally year round. Of course, we do get heavy rainstorms, but that usually lasts for about an hour. But our winter, sunshine. It'll be like, 50 degrees, which for us is really cold. And it's bright and sunny where you still want to take a tan. Where I've seen up north where, during the winter it's all gray and gloomy, and I've heard people are really depressed during that time. Well, here during the winter, it gets really cold, like January, February. um it's still very, very pretty outside. You still have green, your grass is still green. You still have beautiful palm trees. You can still go to the beach, and you probably don't want to get in the water, but you can still like kind of walk around. It's a beautiful place to be. So that's a very true thing about Florida, which it is sunshine year round, and the sky is blue. And it's kind of silly to think of this, like the grass is greener on the other side. But when you're driving from Georgia to Florida, guarantee if there wasn't a sign that says welcome to Florida, you would know it's Florida because everything starts to be green. It's like rich green. And so that's how you could know for sure you're in Florida. And the sky gets clear. Have you ever watched people who go on these like road trips and they're driving through, and you see as they get closer to Florida, the sky is somehow bluer, and I'm assuming that's because of the ocean. Um, so it's really beautiful here. Number two, endless outdoor fun. So let's say you take, forget about all the theme parks and dinner shows and attractions and all that fun stuff. There's so much things you could do here that is that is outdoors. You go fishing, kayaking, canoeing, um, jet skiing. We have so many crystal clear springs that you could go swimming in. Wakaiva Springs and Rock Springs out in Kelly Park. Those two are my favorite places. That's like in the Orlando area. Boating, hiking. There's so many trails to visit. There's so much endless things you could do in Florida. You could go snorkeling. A lot of people come down here to go snorkel, and especially going down to Key West, going to Miami, going to Destin, Florida. You name it. You know, there's so much to do in Florida outdoors, where even if you go during the winter, you could do stuff. You could go hiking, and it's not like you don't have to worry about you're going to be out and freeze to death, because more than likely it's going to be like 40 degrees in the worst case scenario, unless you're like up north towards Jacksonville, then you're probably down to the 30s. But in Central Florida or south from there, if you go south, coldest would probably get is like maybe 50, but it probably around the 60 degrees, and you're thinking the worst. Now the hot, yeah, it is hot in Florida, but as long as you have a nice cup of ice water with you, or most people carry a tumbler, you're fine. Number three is no state income tax. It's crazy how other states, they charge so many taxes. I've seen people leaving California and they have to pay an exit tax to leave out California. They have taxes for everything that, I've had people saying they have to, yearly pay a tax on their car, like emissions test. I have no idea what all the extra taxes your, commie state has. But the good thing about Florida is, you don't have to pay your, no state income tax, so which is a huge plus. And there is also talks about eliminating property tax towards homeowners. So, which will be homeowners in homestead. So that will be a huge plus for people who are moving here. More money you make, it should be yours to keep. Beach life is everywhere. So there's a saying things are kind of getting a little bit longer in traffic, but no matter where you are in Florida, you're about 90 minutes or less to a beach. I would say that's worst case scenario, 90 minutes with traffic. But if you're in Orlando, Cocoa Beach is 50 minutes away. You're in Lake Wells, Vero Beach is like 45 minutes away. Uh, you know, wherever you are, you're so close to a beach, whether you take the back roads or a highway. So if you want to go, you get home from work, you guys want to go to the beach, you can head to the beach and watch the sunset and come back home and get ready for work the next day. That you could do that in Florida. I don't know of any other state you could do that. Um, Surfing is probably, you can't do so much surfing in Florida, which the water is not mega high. But, to be honest, I like to kind of enjoy myself, out in the water. I don't want getting beat up. But, if you want to go to the beach, if you like fishing, man, fishing on the beach is free. Fishing from a pier, I mean, getting a license to go fishing is not hard at all. Number 5, Florida is a melting pot of cultures. You know, yes, Florida is in the South, but everyone always says the more south you go, the more north you go. And it's so true. You have so much, restaurants. If you're thinking about, like, if you want to eat, you know, at a Cuban restaurant, a Puerto Rican restaurant, Peruvian, Brazilian, Ethiopian, Chinese, Japanese, you name the country, I guarantee you could find a restaurant in Central Florida. If you go to Tampa, you go to Miami, you're going to find a lot of different cultures. There's Greek cultures, Middle Eastern cultures, English restaurants. And so you have, that culture of everyone's coming here, and you get to try a lot of different things. And it's kind of nice because you don't have to travel to that country, because it's going to cost you a lot of money. You could just go on a Saturday and, like, hey, I want to go to Japan, or hey, I want to go to England or Africa or Cuba, and you could actually go and experience, because you got some real people who have authentic food from these places. The restaurants, it feels really authentic when you go there, which is pretty nice. So, and then they also have little events as well. Different towns, they have different things where you could kind of immerse yourself and see that culture when they celebrate these little events, and you could be part of that as well. Number 6, fun for all ages, which is very true. Now we're talking about the theme parks. We have Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Legoland. We have Fun Spot. There's so much attractions. Most people and we're just talking about United States. Most people have to travel outside of the state to go on vacation. We travel, we stay in Florida to go on vacation because there's just so much to do, and they keep upgrading. Disney, you go one year, if you wait 5 years, it's like going to a whole brand new theme park because they upgraded so much. Universal just opened up a new theme park which has Mario, has Donkey Kong, has all this cool fantasy stuff there. Legoland is great for if you have little kids, So there's so much fun for all ages, especially like, and if that seems too expensive, then you have other smaller attractions like Fun Spot, and then on top of that, you have other things to do like going to the natural springs and other little amenities. They have hotels that have their own splash pads or water parks. They have these lagoons where if you want to go to the ocean or to a spring, but you're scared of animals being in there, there's these lagoons where you can go, and it's like crystal clear blue, and it's in a hotel area, and it's a huge, like humongous like pool, and it's the size of a lake, but it's a pool, and you could go there and enjoy as well, which is like $30 for the day. So there's fun literally for all ages. You will never get bored living in Florida. Number 7, it is a booming real estate market. So if you want to live in a big city, there's so much to do. You could, I mean, things are going to move really fast, but those prices are going to be a little bit higher, but you're going to find some really nice luxury places, nice homes, and it's going to be prime, close to big jobs. Or if you want to live in a small town, there's a lot of small towns within an hour of these attractions that, if you're okay with driving on the weekends to these places, you could still live an hour to 90 minutes away and still find a home for under $300,000. You could find a big property and still be nice and laid back, which brings me to number 8. If you want the laid back lifestyle with occasional, you know, party and all this, these attractions, well, you can still find that in Florida. There's places in Florida that are still calm and quiet. I drive as a realtor, I drive a lot, and I've gone in towns where there's the population is so, like, such a small population there when there's so much land and there's homes available for sale, but it's such a quiet town, which is like an hour and a half away from these places, where most people don't want to go there because it's an hour and a half away, and there may not be a lot of jobs there. But if you're retiring, man, that's a golden spot to be, because you got the peace and quiet, and you don't have a lot of people moving there. And if they do move there, you're looking probably like 20 years down the road. And which brings me to number 9. There are year-round events and festivals. I guarantee if you go on Facebook, you go to the events tablets, there's always an event happening. And if there's not an event happening, that's, the rapture probably happened or something. There's always some sort of an event happening somewhere in town. There's rodeos happening every Saturday in Lake Wells. There's rodeos in Kissimmee and other parts of Florida. There's concerts, there's downtown events, there's farmers markets, there's, pioneer events, there's the soda festivals, there's so many different type of events on weekends. It's so hard to be bored. You have to find a reason not to go out to these events, which is kind of fun. You get to see different cultures, people building, different things. You get to meet a lot of people. If you like to network, that's a great place to do that. And number 10, Florida is a place where you could truly call home. No matter where you come from, it is a welcoming state. You do have your negative people from everywhere, but usually they're from New York or California. But even with those people, everyone's welcome here. It is a great place to live, great place to be, you know, um, and it's a great place as a fresh start of life. If you're looking to just start something new, you want to live something where it's warm, where you're not beat up by the cold. And I hear some horror stories. You have to leave water dripping so that your pipes don't freeze. You have to get oil to heat up your house, which I think is kind of weird. I've heard so many strange things of how people up north try to survive. I mean, we have hurricanes, but you know, it's not too bad. As long as you buy a good solid house on not in a flood zone, you're pretty solid. Even if you buy a house that's a manufactured homes, as long as you're not on the coast, then you're pretty well off. If you live on the coast, I wouldn't live on the coast with the manufactured home, because 9 times out of 10, that house is probably not going to make it in a hurricane, or the insurance is going to be bananas. But other than that, I mean, Florida's a great place to live. The market, it kind of goes like this, but it's going like this upwards. So if you buy a place here, for sure you're going to have equity. Your kids are going to love it here, because this is a place of vacation, and it's a place of family. This is a family friendly state. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoy these 10 things. And then my next video will be 10 things maybe you should consider Florida may not be for you. We'll see.